Here is Chief Meteorologist Chase Jones.
With all the humidity and all the rain on top of the heat, the allergens are going strong, so bear with me if I break into a coughing fit. I got a cough drop in right now as we deal with some of these dynamic temperatures. Now we're watching a giant plume of moisture give up as it makes its way into the Concho Valley, getting pretty organized. And take a good look at these temperatures over the last 24 hours, all the way down into those upper 60s. Then we push into those lower 80s. Then here comes that cold air as it tried to rain. Now usually what that means is most of the moisture has evaporated before it hits the surface, but we're still getting a lot of that upper atmospheric cold air down at the surface. That's what pushes us all the way back down into those mid 70s, and then we're back on the recharge. And by tomorrow, a lot of this residual humidity is going to lead to some pockets of rain across the entire Concho Valley before things finally dry out into those lower 90s. 79 in San Angelo. Everybody else in a good combination of those mid to lower 70s and not those lower 80s across the entire area. Seeing a lot of moisture off towards the south. Around lunchtime, it was 70 down there in Junction. It's actually a pretty beautiful day. Can't think of much more perfect weather. 84 up there in Sterling City, 76 down there in Junction. There's our 10 degrees across the entire area. If not more, we're at 73 over there in Eden, so you can see where we're holding on to pockets of colder air. Now, keep your eye on the Gulf Coast region. It takes a little while to load because look at the size of the moisture around the Gulf Coast into Louisiana. A monster hurricane is starting to show up on a lot of the model data, and it's getting more and more confident every single hour. Now, upper level pattern is showing us where there is no high pressure at all. That's what's going to help fuel this hurricane. And the sea surface temperatures are somewhere up in those upper 80s, and there's a whole lot of fresh water on its way down from all of the flooding into those coastal areas. Now, by next week, some high pressure going to try to push in from that record heat, but I don't think that we're going to see any of those triple-digit temperatures, things finally drying out. Water vapor imagery, keeping an eye on the plume of moisture, but look at the Rocky Mountains just explode with moisture. We take you down into the severe weather outlook, and it is the entire state of Texas again as the entire country gears up to try to push out more moisture across the entire area. Down at the surface, watching a whole lot of this weather erupt, but not a whole lot of severe weather outlook, or at least alerts popping off across the entire area. But really zooming in on the state of Texas, look how dynamic this entire system is. You can see the circulation working its way in from those coastal areas and then colliding with the moisture, making its way in across the Chihuahua Desert and down from the Sierra Madres. There's a whole lot going on across the entire state of Texas. Now we're going to zoom in on the Concho Valley as we keep our eye on the massive evaporation of this giant plume. The radar not picking up anything but a couple flash flood alerts off towards the east. Now zooming back out to the entire region, I really want you guys to get a good idea of this moisture. This is where the pockets are supposed to be. As it makes its way out of the area, you can sort of see as the circulation tries to organize from the south. Again, by tomorrow morning, a little bit of thunderstorm activity off towards the north. That'll kick it off by the afternoon, but usually the model is over ambitious. We'll see if it doesn't lead to any rain, but then things dry completely out as we continue to see these plumes of moisture try to push in from the south. By the afternoon, the heating could kick it off, but again, just staying in those beautiful humid temperatures well below average, nowhere near that 100-degree mark, which is pretty fascinating considering we're on the cool down. So tonight, all the way back down into those lower 70s. I'm on the lookout for some of those breezier conditions. Then tomorrow, a good run at those mid 80s, but you saw the pockets of moisture that could erupt. So let's be safe out there and be ready for some of that flash flooding, but I don't think it's going to be nearly as intense this week. As we get closer towards, I heard the rumor on the street is school is about to start towards the end of July already. Temperature's going to push all the way back up into those lower 90s. Zoe, that's a picture of someone mowing while those overnight lows stay in those lower 70s. Stay tuned. We'll have more of the break. You're watching KSAN News at 5.